Welcome on back to Homeowners. We got some to-dos for me and the wife. Let's head up to the drawing board and see what we have planned. Now, I've been communicating with my wife on some of the things we're looking to build with this, and I know that my main machine shed does not have adequate space inside. I would like to have a place to store the boat, possibly my bigger truck, and some other miscellaneous things like the four-wheeler, lawnmower. You get the point. That's going to go down in the bottom left. But my wife wanted to put in a couple other things. Honey, what did you want to add?
Well, I mean, we need a garden. Where else are we going to get food if we don't grow it by ourselves?
The convenience store. That's where all food's supposed to be growing.
But this way we know where the food comes from.
Okay, fine. Well, where do you want to put this food?
Well, I'm thinking kind of the north part of the homestead. We could have like a little outdoor garden, and then so we can have fresh veggies and fruits all year long. We can have a little greenhouse. We'll probably need a shed to store all the implements, so we can put that next to your man cave shed.
The shop. It's not a man cave. It totally doesn't have Babish on it right now.
Oh, is that what you're doing when you say you're going out to work, dear?
Yes, I'm watching someone else make delicious food, because otherwise I got to make my own food, and half the time it turns out okay, but not what he makes.
That's not my fault. Further down the line, we can have some chickens. That way we can have farm fresh eggs. And then also we can use the manure to fertilize our gardens. So we're multi-purposing here. And we can give the chickens garden scraps, so that way we don't have to spend as much on feed. It's a whole ecosystem.
Something tells me you're very environmentally friendly.
Also cost friendly, because if you're reusing stuff, then you don't have to buy other stuff.
Just for everybody to know, my wife is the money manager of the family here. I'm the expensive one. Can you believe that?
I mean, it's not like you just decide to buy a truck on a whim.
Marketplace has great things. I'm not that bad.
So you say.
Well, honey, I gotta run down to the store so I can actually get all this equipment. You just sit here and wait for me to build the garden. How's that sound?
Sounds fantastic, dear.
I'm sure it does. Thank you, honey. I appreciate everything you do. Since last time, we have cleaned up the shop, and I've made some key improvements. Nothing against Hashi, I just kind of wanted to have my own spin on things. I kept the rug, because to buy one of those in full size would have been very expensive, but we might have hung up a couple more appropriate banners. And I wasn't lying, Binging with Babish was indeed on the TV. If you haven't watched the macaroni 10 levels of macaroni and cheese video, it's definitely worth the watch. One last thing before we get on the road, I did make one final memorial along the backside wall. Figured you guys would really enjoy this, and to be fair, it really does make a good piece of wall art. We did quite a bit of cleaning in the shop, got rid of a bunch of stuff we technically didn't need, like that exhaust pipe, a bunch of stuff crammed back behind the shelving, even moved the toolbox so we could park the big truck in this bay. But we're not going to be worrying about the new shed or the chicken coop in today's thing. We're mainly focusing on the garden. But I need a tiller, some sort of a harvester, a planter, seeder, and a roller. We're going to head down to the home and garden and see what they have available. You may have seen it in the community post, but it is official. We have Mac. My wife mentioned it, but yes, I did just buy a 1996 F-150 about a month ago. Now, if you love the Homeowner series and getting that sweet taste of acreage country life, and you'd love to see more on this homestead, you gotta let me know by heading down below, smashing that like button, possibly considering subscribing. I got a goal to try and reach 150,000 subs by the end of this year, as I just love making videos for you guys, and sometimes my wife might even be a part of them. Like she mentioned, she wants to do a garden plot, but also a greenhouse. Luckily, the Home and Garden has invested in a store display of one of their greenhouses, meaning we're definitely taking a look at this. Strawberries and tomatoes, possibly some lettuce. Not sure if that's what she wanted to have, but we at least have the option. Ooh, well, there's a nice water trailer. I'd like to put a well right next to it so I don't ever really have to worry about filling up the tank, but if I have the one that's right next to the main machine shed, then we could use this barrel to transport the fluids over to that. Now we need something we could use to seed. Well, there's the roller. Seems a little bit more like a fertilizer spreader, but that would probably work as a seeder. Ooh, the little cart. That would definitely be nice to haul stuff around in. I will make note that I contacted the guy I sold the other ATV trailer on Marketplace to. I asked him if he'd actually want to do a swap for the one that had the sides on it, and luckily he agreed. So back at the house, we have the black ATV trailer that I originally bought for the lawn care company we started a couple months ago. But this we can use to fill up material, fill up stuff that we collect from the garden. However we see fit, this could do that job. Hold on. I remember this thing. My old yard machine. That is a beast of a tiller. This could really tear up the garden nice. Now, what do we have for something that could harvest? What on earth is that? Okay, I guess that is the harvester. But what's the difference between this one and this one besides the reel? Oh, if this one, if you wanted to get something like corn out, it's stupid to have a reel for corn, but I guess that's what it is. It's an option. So we'll buy the one that comes with the package so we can just take it off and harvest. We'll get the one that has the combined package. That way we can just take it off. Get the tiller, that, greenhouse, which that's going to cost quite a bit of money. Technically, I need to buy a chicken feed, but I don't have the chicken coop nor the chickens. But I could plan ahead. Do they even have chicken feed? Pig, horse, calf, see... Oh, there's chicken. I don't have very much. That's all right. Let's tally all this up. Factoring in all of our expenses is going to come in at a total of $9,050. What that does not factor in is the building materials to flatten and level off the area for the greenhouse and the side shed that's going to need to go beside my place, but I think I might be able to get that part done for about $1,000. I did not end up buying any chicken feed. We're just going to worry about all that next time. Ever since I cleaned out the shop, I don't really need to move anything right now. Now just comes the fun part of fitting all of this on the trailer. I don't want to throw anything in the back of the truck quite yet, but the roller for certain I'm going to put in the back. If only my tailgate opened and closed that easy in real life. This is what I'm the most excited for. I originally made this thing back in FS22. I sourced quite a few parts in order to construct it, but this is based on the real-life MTD tiller that I had as a child growing up at my parents' house. My dad and I always had a competition of how many pulls do we think it would take to get it going. Very rarely did it ever take more than 2 pulls. That thing was a beast. That greenhouse, I'm going to have to do some dirt work to get the foundation built before we can have it constructed. Have to widen the ramps. Just please go on nicely. Yeah! All this stuff's going to look a little funky, but trust the process. I think this will work a lot better than other gardens I've done in previous years. That'll work. Let's get ourselves back to the house and start working on a garden. What I need to do is look for a really small cultivator that can go on the back of the 445. The garden's not going to be tremendously huge, but if I already have the one bottom plow and the tiller, which is mainly supposed to just chop up the soil, but it's scripted to work like a plow, we don't have anything to put the dirt back to a seedbed. I'm going to get Daryl on the phone, see if he can come out here and help me do some dirt work. That shed I'm looking to build is going to be right back by the drain spout. I'd just rather get it a bit more level before we finalize the placement, but this will help keep our equipment out of the way and also keep it protected. For now, we'll just put this stuff in the side shop until we get the garden shed finalized around the corner. I don't remember if I finished this topic, but the problem with the tiller was that in 22, I could not get the tiller to properly tear up the soil. Well, with this hand-pushable equipment pack, somebody managed to do just that. They made a pushable version of a tiller that would look like this. I then asked myself, I wonder if I took my MTD and gave it the coating that that thing has and see if it works. I now can safely say that yes, this does indeed work and function as a proper garden tiller. Except I have no idea where I'm going to be building this because I have yet to put the markers out. It was mentioned the greenhouse was going to be tucked into this tree line, but for dirt work, I need to raise it up from this specific point all the way back into the trees. Honey, do you happen to know how far out you want this garden to go?
Just start walking. I'll tell you where to stop.
That's not very helpful.
Well, what do you want me to use as a landmark, dear? Stop at that blade of grass.
Fine, be that way.
That should be good.
Yeah. How far out going towards the creek bed do you want me to go?
Say about even with where the back of that greenhouse is gonna be.
Okay. Like that?
Looks good to me. And then when I decide I want a bigger garden, you can make it bigger.
Okay. I'll have you know you'll be the one that's doing all of the weeding. Love you. She didn't like that part. But look at this thing rip through the dirt. Thing works fantastic. Oh, look at that. They got the shed built. That was probably already done before it started making the garden. But, ooh, we got some stones we're going to need to pick up. Of course, I can't just go out and pick up stones with my own hands, but I wonder if the home and garden also has a rock picker. I never even thought about that problem. This just gives me so much nostalgia to my childhood, because the first time I ever got to run this thing, I didn't realize how much that ripper underneath would, like, drag you in. If the soil was hard, this thing would ride like a bucking bronco, but if the soil was soft, then this thing would dig itself into the ground, and if you didn't lift it back up, the machine would bury itself. I'd love to get to do an actual garden again. Both me and my wife really want to, but the place we currently live at doesn't have the greatest places to put stuff in a garden. Like, there's no real good place to put a garden. I could tear up the yard, but I wouldn't like that, and I certainly know my landlord would not like that. Let me know down below, for you guys that do garden at your house, or someone like your grandparent, what do you guys grow? I would love to grow potatoes. I love potatoes. It doesn't matter if they're Yukon Golds or red potatoes, but I also really would like to grow carrots. I don't know why, but I want to grow some carrots because I love me some carrots. Who here loves carrots? Wow, that really looks nice. Except I got to get that greenhouse up.
2 hours later.
Dang, that really turned out nice. Seriously, aesthetically, that looks amazing. I just hope I'm able to sell that beacon light now. Well, there's one. Can I get to the other? Yes. Take a look at my checklist. We were going to grow strawberries, lettuce, onions, tomatoes, and then carrots, potatoes, sweet corn, and maybe radishes. I'd really like to grow some rhubarb. Rhubarb crisp sounds really good right about now. But we also have to remember there's a lot of food that might go to waste if we just plant everything under the sun. Get the onions started, strawberries, lettuce, and tomatoes. Those are looking a little thirsty. Because it's September, do we have the ability to plant anything that I'm interested in? It does not look like it. That's okay. It gives us time to prepare. I never grabbed the water trailer. How am I supposed to fill up the water tank if I don't have a water transporter? My bad. If you've been wondering about the state of the Public Works Division, the town has been doing fantastic. We haven't had any major breakdowns. All of our standby generators are currently getting tweaked and prepped for the wintertime. Even though it does use fuel, I do occasionally run the systems all on the generators, just so they are still up and running rather than just sitting there and collecting dust. Something I also forgot to mention is our lawnmower situation. The GS45 has now been modified to work as a mulcher. This pack also contains a mower that acts as a mulcher, so naturally I fixed the Honda and the Johnny that I can now mow the yard without having to change my lawnmower. And this is the nice thing about living out in the country. You can just leave your doors hanging wide open and no one usually thinks twice. But it's always good practice to lock, shut, and secure your stuff. You never know who's out there. Okay, let's get some water. I don't know how much this thing holds, but I also don't remember how much the greenhouse holds. 500. That would be a decent chunk of weight to try and push around. Now, how much does this take? 10,000 liters. Wow, that's a thirsty greenhouse. I do find it funny that the cap of the barrel does come off when you're near a fill point. That is a nice touch. Well, that's filling. Let's get our new shed stacked full of some equipment. Depending on how sensitive some of this stuff is, it might be easier to set the roller in the back and then just drive something over the top of it so you can just compact things in. At least I hope it's that easy. That harvester thing's going to take up quite a bit of space. Just so I can get a scale reference, how big is this compared to the garden? Might only get a very small lane of each crop in, but that'll work. That's fine. Oh, this is going to be a tight fit. If I absolutely have to, I can keep something else in one of the garages. I just kind of want to have all of the gardening tools in their own shed. That way it's just easier to know where things are at. That trailer we can leave outside. Not going to be a huge issue. Man, it almost seems easier to pull the trailer. I guess if you need me, I'll just be over here transferring water for the next 30 minutes. Whew. I am never making 20 trips at the same time ever again. That was horrible. And look at that fitment. Please tell me it just closes beautifully. Yes! Oh, that is so nice. Probably going to need the wife's opinion to make sure everything is up to standards. I would think it is. She's a very simplistic woman. Other than that, I don't think we have much to prep for other than the garage on the west side, along with the chicken coop and the playhouse down by the dock. Honey, if you want to come out and tell me about the garden, that'd be nice.
It looks very nice, honey. Thank you for putting in all that work.
Well, we already got the stuff in the garden. That the greenhouse is growing. It's got the strawberries, the tomatoes, onions, and tomatoes. The garden we're going to have to wait for the next year. Do you think it will get the job done?
Yes, it will definitely get the job done, and then once everything starts to bear fruit, I'll have stuff to cook with. I mean, for all the major amount of cooking that I do for our house.
Right. Because I actually do the majority of the cooking. Nonetheless, I believe that is all we have time for today. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in. If you want to check out that playlist for homeowners as it grows in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can do that now. Other than that, make sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is The Rental Man out. Peace.